my mind was focused on racing even at like, say, 10 years old. I already knew I wanted to get in racing. So I think I just watched one race on TV, and it was just enough to influence me into getting into, I don't know, you know how nobody in my family's into racing. None of my friends were in racing. I was the only one. I would draw race cars on all my homework. I don't really know where it came from, you know? It was just that one thing that clicked. So when I first went to UNOH, being around a bunch of car people, and you know, every class was obviously automotive related, it was very comfortable, you know, because you're away from home, you know, I'm like, whatever, 1,400 miles from home, and you have you and your 3 best friends, and then you start making friends, and they're all interested in cars. So I think going to a school focused on exactly what you like is kind of comforting when you're, you know, 18, 19 years old. So my buddy Caleb, who was obviously a previous student of UNOH, said, hey, you know, they're looking for more students to fill more positions here on the race teams. And I was like, oh yeah, as soon as I graduate, I need to go talk to them and send a resume in. And it was kind of easy because they liked the previous quality of the students that they got. So, you know, we don't even care about your experience level because we know you're right out of school. So we go, we're going to train you to do what we want. When I got my job at Schumacher Racing, they had eight people already from the school. So, I mean, you could tell it was just like, oh, that's on my resume. Oh, well, you're hired. I think when you look at the previous students and where they're at, you know, some of them are at Penske and Hendrick, obviously Schumacher and all these other race teams, that makes you go, well, if I go through the school and I do, you know, I pay attention to show up every day, you know, I could be in these same spots too. The reason I even got into metal art is with working on a race team, you become an asset if you're able to be a quality welder. Like anybody can weld, but when you work on a race car that goes 330 miles an hour, you need to be at like a certain level of welding because if you do something wrong, someone can die. So honestly, I would stay after work, you know, every day, and I would just build something here and there, practicing welding, but then to me, it's easier to build something that you're gonna keep than it is to weld the coupon and then throw it away. You have a little bit more motivation to do a little bit better job. So I practiced welding afterwards, and I started building little creations here. And I jokingly made the mistake of posting them online, and people go, ooh, could you make me one of that? And it kind of snowballed into a partial business. So then I would go 8 to 5, you know, at Schumacher, and then from like 6 to 2 o'clock in the morning, I would be building art on the side. So theoretically, I was kind of creating 2 full-time jobs that I was working all the time. And my wife's like, you need to pick one or the other because you can't do this much work in a day and just not fall asleep all the time. So at one point I go, all right, I have all the tools and equipment that I personally need to do my art. So I gave Schumacher Racing my dream job. I gave them my 6 months notice. And I said, all right guys, I love my job, but I would really like to give this art thing a shot. And that was 6 years ago, and I'm still doing very well, and not even thought of wanting to have to work on a race team right now because I have so much work to do. Stuff that I do here at Cold Hard Arts initially was just building like replicas of race cars and sculptures and just little things that are, you know, personal and custom. But I got into, again, making one person a trophy. And now 80% of my business is all trophies for some quite, like, you know, we do stuff for NHRA, USAC, we've done some stuff for NASCAR, Red Bull. God, there's a lot of big companies that we do art for. And we still do stuff for random people too. But it's one of those things going, how the heck did I have this many people depending on me to create stuff every week and every month. So for the whole year, I'm already full to the year because I already know what I'm going to be building. The Metal Shop Masters thing came from a direct message on Instagram, and it said, hey, we're not crazy. We're looking for, you know, unique metal artists. And I go, well, you know, I'll put some effort into this. I'll answer this. And you go through a corresponding amount of people. There's all the different casting and all the stuff that you go to. And then they said, yes, you're one of the 7 people that are going to be on this show. We're going to film it in LA. And it's a metal art show. And I'm like, in my mind, I always made a joke that metal art is not a competition sport. So it's tricky for me, who's competitive, to just weld for people. So for them to go, oh no, it's gonna be for $50,000. I'm like, oh, Now it's serious. So it was just a direct message on Instagram. So that's what I tell kids going, listen, the way you act on Instagram and social media is very important, because if I had been one of those people cussing and swearing and getting crazy and just doing dumb stuff, probably wouldn't have picked me. But I try to, you know, with my art, I don't cuss, I swear. I keep everything pretty neutral on just focusing on my art. And they go, well, we like that. And I go, well, I guess that did pay off. Being on the Metal Shop Master Show was kind of fun. It was a new experience for me to actually be like, I guess to say, the focal point of one of 7 people, compared to when you're in racing and on TV, you're just a crew guy. So you're kind of the background, but being put up front going, you know, hey, we're watching you and you and you, and it puts a little bit of pressure on you, but honestly, as soon as you start creating stuff for each challenge, you don't even pay attention to the cameras. And for me, I feel like I had like a little bit of an advantage because of being in motorsports and thinking about everything is about time and doing the best job you can, and having that experience was kind of useful in oh, you got 10 hours to build something. Okay, that's good. So I'm really good under pressure. I actually do my best work when you go, hey, I need something tomorrow. Oh yeah, no, I got it, we're good. Now, if you tell me, get to it when you get to it, worst thing you could ever say to me. I had a blast, everybody was just awesome. Even though you're trying to beat all these people, it was hard to want to beat them because they all became your friends like instantly, because we all have a common interest and we're all different. Everybody was chosen for their personalities and their art styles. So you kind of learn something from everybody, or how they did stuff. So that part was more tricky to go, this person's got to go home, or I got to go home, or someone's got to go home. So that part got in your head a little bit. But other than that, it was just, did I do a good enough job to make it past the next round? And you know, at least for me, I got that feeling a couple times going, I don't know if I did a good enough job, but that's not up to me right now, it's up to judges. I would definitely recommend any kid to go to UNOH. It's quite impressive to see so many of my friends that are in all different types. I got a lot of friends in NASCAR, and there's a lot of students down there, sprint car racing, a couple of them in IndyCar, and then there's a lot of diesel programs, a lot of diesel companies around here that have UNOH students. So I go, I feel like you'd be silly, you know, to take a chance going, well, I'm not going to go to school for, you know, to gain the knowledge of getting to one of these jobs. I mean, I got my job because of UNOH was on my resume, and I didn't even have any experience working on race cars yet. The first race car I got to work on was at Schumacher because of what was on my resume. So I go, I can only imagine, you know, all the other different jobs that you can get just having that on there, and all the other different classes. I only took, you know, a business class other than all the automotive stuff. And I go, the school has so many more things now. I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at today without the UNOH, because that's what got me my job at Schumacher Racing pretty much instantly. But then everybody that I met and all the companies I work with today is because of my Schumacher connection and working there and networking and making friends, and people that also go, well, you know, we like your work at Schumacher, how can we help you in your next career choice of being in art? And a lot of the companies that I deal with now are companies that Schumacher still deals with, or maybe our race team dealt with. So I go, that was all because I got my job at the race team because of my schooling. I mean, all my friends are very professional, they own their own business now, you know, so I go, the school's done something right. If that made any sense to you at all. I was like, I don't even, you know. I have 33% Irish in me, so I could talk to anybody. Now, I don't know if they make sense of what I said, but